Hi guys, it is like 6 o'clock in the morning and I haven't even had my coffee yet, but I just want to make sure that I get this into you today. Um, so, yesterday I asked you guys to redo your media bias evaluations, and I've given you all feedback, like very specific feedback and all kinds of comments on your media evaluation assignments. And I've given you access to a website that will help you to figure out, give you some clues about the bias in those three resources. And my ultimate goal for you was to write an essay where you have at least 3 paragraphs and you describe the bias that you see in each of those pieces of media, okay, in each of those articles. And all the articles were about mail-in voting and voting fraud. And I made sure to try to give you an article, 3 articles, because I wanted you to have one that was fairly neutral, one that was definitely leaning liberal, and one that was definitely leaning conservative, so that you could see the same issue from 3 different perspectives. So when you write your paragraphs now, all you really need to do is you need to take what you put in your media evaluations and you need to plug it into a planning sheet so you can start to put that in paragraph form. Okay. So it's not going to be as simple as just copying and pasting something from one place to another, but doing the evaluation sheets is a great place for you to have started. So when I open up one of the sheets, what I see here, okay, is, you're going to have all your notes here, and I'm going to have all of my comments over here. And hopefully you have gone down here and you have written a paragraph already, which is kind of like a rough draft. All right. So you should have this open while you are doing today's planning sheet. So this says paragraph planning sheet. Use this document to plan out each body paragraph of your essay. It says remember the 1 to 2 rule. I'll talk about that a little bit. When you cite evidence from an article or from a text, that's when you, excuse me. Oh, hi, David. There's my little boy. When you cite evidence from a text, that's when you either use a direct quotation or you paraphrase something very specific that happened in a text. After you've cited evidence, it's not enough just to cite that evidence, right? I mean, we've talked in English classes about how you need to also explain to your reader, what does that evidence show? What does that evidence prove? Why are you giving us that evidence in the first place? So your commentary, that's the part where you explain why you used that particular evidence. Okay. So as a general rule, you really should have twice as much of your own thoughts and twice as much of your own explanation and elaboration as you have evidence from the text. So what I did was I set up this particular planning sheet to try to guide you in that direction before you even write the paragraph. Because what I see a lot of my students do is they're really good at finding evidence in the text and then putting that evidence in their essays, but then they don't really elaborate on it, or they have more evidence cited, like they have more quotes from the text than they have their own words explaining why they quoted that text. So I'm trying to set this up so that you have like this 1 to 2 ratio rule. So for every one piece of evidence you cite, you have at least 2 sentences where you explain why that evidence is important and what that evidence means. So, okay. Let's say that this is the paragraph. I'm sorry, you guys. Like I said, it's really early. Just trying to make sure I get this done. This was the Fox News evaluation sheet. Okay. And I'll use this because we talked about this in yesterday's assignment too. We've already looked at it. So for this particular article, perhaps, I'm like, okay, I want to say whether this is liberal, conservative, or neutral. So I should have already stated down here in the paragraph whether I think it is liberal, conservative, or neutral. And if you've been doing all of these assignments, you know that it's conservative because we've talked about it. So this one should be pretty easy. So my paragraph planning sheet for this article, my topic sentence is going to be the Fox News article is very conservative leaning. Okay. That doesn't have to be your exact thing. Maybe you don't think it's very conservative. Maybe you just think it's kind of conservative. Either way, it's the conservative point of view. All right. So if my topic sentence is that the Fox News article is very conservative leaning, now I have to find 3 examples that prove that. All right. So I've taken my conclusions from my media evaluation sheet, which I should have already written down here. Okay. And I am using those as a starting point for this sheet. So, topic sentence. The Fox News article is very conservative leaning. Piece of evidence number 1. What is piece of evidence number 1 going to be? Piece of evidence number 1 can be actually as simple as go back to that site from yesterday. I cannot remember what it was, so I have to look it up. Ad Fontes Media, AD Fontes, I think it is, because I think her name's Andrea or something like that. So if I go back to this website, the first thing I can do is simply go down here, because I've already looked at this chart and I've already looked up Fox News and I've looked up information about its bias. And I can make my first piece of evidence that according to AD Fontes Media, Fox News falls in the category of, sorry, I gotta go back to the right chart. It falls into the category of, wow, I've got to click on all kinds of things here this morning, you guys. Don't have enough coffee for this. All right, here's the chart I can actually click on. So it tells me that Fox News falls here under right-wing political bias, which is also considered hyper-partisan right, okay, which means that it very strongly leans toward conservative ideology. All right. Wow, these people really want money. It is Ad Fontes, Ad Fontes. All right, so according to, let's correct this, Ad Fontes Media.
Mom.
Yes, dear?
Can I watch TV?
Yes, you can watch TV quietly. Hyper partisan right, which means that it is very conservative, or let's just say it has bias. You know what? I'm going to let you watch me make what I consider my little mistakes, because I consider that kind of a little mistake. I think that should be up here with my topic sentence. Okay? See how I was like, you know what? I don't really like that there. I don't think it works good as evidence because it's not technically from the article. And all my evidence really should technically come from the article. Okay? So see how, like, even I put something in and I'm like, you know what? That's not right. And I've been writing for a million years now because I'm like as old as the dinosaurs. Okay? So my evidence really needs to be from the article itself. So I am going to put this up here with my topic sentence. It's okay to have 2. It's all right. Okay. All right. or I can combine those two into one sentence. Doesn't matter. The point is, that's where I think it should go. So if I go here, yesterday we talked about how even the headline itself shows a political bias. So it says, new report finds string of ballot mishaps confirms fears of large-scale mail-in voting. So we talked about how when we read all three articles, we see that it's President Trump who's really promoting a lot of this fear about election fraud.
A battle over mail-in ballots heading for the Supreme Court. Pennsylvania Republicans argue the state's high court overstepped.
Okay. So I'm going to say that evidence number one, the headline itself is biased. And I'm going to put the headline here too. Hey, I thought I just copied and pasted that, but like I said, it's early. Maybe I didn't actually hit copy first. Okay, so there's the headline, which I've copied and pasted, so now it's in a giant font, which I need to make a lot smaller. Okay, so I'm going to quote that. I want to make sure I quote that headline, because the reader needs to see, in this case, exactly what the headline says, word for word, to see why it is biased. So I'm going to put that in quotation marks to indicate that it's not my words. Okay. New report finds string of ballot mishaps confirms fear of large scale in voting. So now I need to have at least two sentences that elaborate on why I think that is biased. Okay. So my first commentary, I'm going to say that the headline makes it seem like it is a fact that mail-in voting is unsafe because my cat is like scratching my chair, driving me crazy. It was my great grandma's chair. I don't want her ruining it. She does it on purpose just to spite me. I know she does. Okay, so the headline makes it seem like it is a fact that mail-in voting is unsafe because it points out that there are a lot of errors in mail-in voting. Okay, so it points out that there's errors. Okay, and then my second piece of commentary might be that it uses the word fear in order to make the readers think that they should be afraid of the results of mail-in ballots because they are possibly fraudulent. All right, now, these aren't the most beautiful sentences in the world, okay? It's, according to my computer, 6:56 a.m. I've got a cat running around behind me trying to ruin my great-grandmother's antique chair, and I've got a dog over here making weird noises, and I've got a 5-year-old watching TV in the next room. So, are these the most beautiful sentences in the world? Some of them aren't even complete sentences. Right now, it doesn't matter, okay? All I need to make sure that I do today is make sure I have 3 pieces of evidence that prove my topic sentence here, okay? I want 3 pieces of evidence that prove that this is a conservative-leaning article. And then I'm going to have a concluding sentence down here that I'm going to write after I find my 3 pieces of evidence and after I write commentary to support each of my pieces of evidence. All right, so let me recap here what I want you to do. I want you to go to your evaluation, all right? I want you to go down to the bottom where you have made your conclusions. And I actually had asked you to cite some reasons to support your answer right here. So if you did what I asked you to do in the first place, you might already have 3 reasons. You might already have 3 reasons to plug into this planning sheet. Okay? So this might be, you might have half of your work done for you already. See how crazy that is, how I have you do things in a particular order? Maybe there's a reason for that. All right. So you're going to do one of these planning sheets for each article. See, I've put 3 planning sheets on the document right here. Okay. So 3 paragraphs minimum. That's how long this essay is going to have to be. Should the essay have an intro and a conclusion and la, la, la? Yeah, it should have all those things too. Okay. But right now, all I am concerned about is you making sure that you have plugged in information to have at least 3 paragraphs. One about the Fox News article, one about the National Public Radio, NPR article, and one about the CNN Cable News Network article. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'm going to ask you today. Nobody's showing up for my Google Meets. Every once in a while, I might have 3 people pop in for a Google Meet. Most of the time, nobody logs in at all. And I just sit here like staring at a screen for an hour. It's totally blank and nothing going on. And then I have people log in and they don't have any questions or want any help with anything. They just are like, hi. And I love seeing your faces. I really do. But it's like, I feel like I'm wasting my time where I could be like doing other things. So I'm going to ask you, if you need help with this, if you could please contact me and we will set up a one-to-one Google Meet or Zoom meeting, I don't care which, where I can specifically help just you with this assignment, okay? A time that works good for both of us. So that said, you guys, good luck with this, okay? You're doing great. This is not an easy assignment. So those of you who have chosen to plug on and keep carrying on, even though sometimes it's gotten confusing, you're doing great. You don't learn anything if it's not hard. If it were easy, you wouldn't be learning anything. So go ahead and get started on this, and I will give you the next step tomorrow. Have a great day.